Hello, my name is Maxwell Colonna-Dashwood, and I'm here today to talk to you about the role of the barista. What exactly defines this role? Now, I myself am a 3-time UK Barista champion and a 3-time world finalist. I do lots of other things in coffee, but I just keep coming back to this role. It fascinates me and I love it. I love the role of the barista. But what exactly does it mean to be a barista? Well, if we look at the history of the word, it comes from Italy, and it simply means bar person. But it's most likely that because of the focus of coffee in Italian culture, that as this word has made its way around the world, it's actually become synonymous with the craft, the art and the skill of preparing great coffee for customers. But actually, it's so much more than that. And as the coffee industry matures, as customers become more discerning and the world of specialty coffee becomes something that we all understand and want to engage in, the role of the barista evolves even further. We talk about analogies such as cocktail bar people and the role of sommelier. These are good analogies because if you look at those roles, you need to have a lot of experience, you have technical ability, especially as a cocktail bar person, and as a sommelier, you need to have that knowledge of incredible knowledge of provenance and that whole world of wine to be able to share with a customer. But in both cases, it's about flavour. And you have to be able to taste, and that doesn't mean that you have a great mouth or a great nose, although that can help. It actually means that you've built up a back catalogue of flavour experiences that you can now connect to a cause. So you can taste something and understand why it tastes that way and share that with a customer, but it'll also help you make better coffee. And that's the important thing to understand about brewing coffee. It's not simply learning the technical proficiencies, which are changing and evolving all the time, whether we're using scales or whether we're talking about brew recipes or measuring extraction or temperature or pressure. The way we feel about those particular variables and the way we can use them to brew great coffee, well, it's all driven by taste. You need to be able to taste something and understand how those variables can have an impact. But importantly, it goes beyond those variables. Often for my customers, I try and draw a pie chart to try and communicate exactly where the flavour, that cup of coffee they love, or like less, where those flavours come from. And I spent many years in coffee, and I think a lot of people do, chasing your tail. And as a barista, it's easy to think, okay, well, yeah, the grind has this impact, and the water temperature has this impact. But actually, you need to understand how much of the flavour is from the green coffee. And on my pie chart, that takes up one whole half of the chart. It's so important. I truly believe if you've got a rubbish green coffee, it doesn't matter how incredible you are as a barista, you cannot get it to taste good. Our job as a barista is to take a great coffee and do an incredible job with it, to showcase it to its full potential. And then there's roast. You need to understand how much the flavour is roast. And something I am very passionate about is water quality. You need to understand that too. But once you've developed this proficiency for understanding where the flavours come from, and I'll be honest, that's a constant learning curve. The industry is learning all the time. But once we get to that point, really the role is so much more than that. It's about hospitality, it's about customers, it's about engagement. People in other industries are often jealous of the role of the barista. To get an incredible coffee, often people need to come to us. They could pursue it at home, but we have this role where people interact with us and we can be that touch point for the wider world of coffee. And hopefully we can share our excitement and passion with the customer and give them an amazing experience that makes them want to learn more about coffee. But on top of sharing your passion, there is the detail of running a great hospitality establishment. There's running tables, clearing, communicating with your team. So it really is a very multifaceted role. And in some ways, I've actually always thought the role of the barista is harder than people think. But actually, that's a positive thing. It's a challenge, but to become a great barista is hard, and that means it's rewarding. And I think as coffee evolves, and as the industry evolves and customers, like I said at the beginning, become more discerning, the role of the barista will be more important than ever before. Now, next up after me is Kev Burrows from Iron and Fire to talk to you about the lever piston espresso machine and whether it has relevance in today's market. Over to you, Kev.
Hi, I'm Kev from Iron and Fire. coffee roasters. What I'm going to talk to you about today in brief is whether there's relevance in today's market for the lever piston espresso machine or lever machine. It was brought to the market in 1947 by Gaggia as an alternative to just using boiler pressure for the extrusion, for the espresso so that will be made up to that. So it was quite a big move forward. The technology hasn't changed that much. There's still a dirty grate spring, 2 or 3 piston rings, and basically as you pull the lever down now, what you've got is water coming through the piston at 1 bar, which is the boiler pressure. If there's coffee in there, you're getting a pre-infuse at that level. I'm going to do a coffee now for you. So this is the Fracino Retro with the oak, English oak handles, which looks absolutely stunning. It's fantastic to use. It looks great. So here you go. Give it a bless. So we pair that up with the Fracino silent grinder, which is really quiet. So these things are silent. There's no pump, as you'll hear through the extractor. So they work fantastically well in restaurants or areas where you don't need the sound of a coffee machine whirring around in the background. These are completely silent, which is one of the bonuses. So I'll go through the nice warm cup. I'll go through some of the salient points now. So as I pull this down, we're getting a pre-infuse. I mean, normally you wouldn't stand looking at the lever handle, you'd be off making your milk, but we'll just talk you through. So water's coming through, pre-infusing. As I release the handle, the coffee takes over now. So what we're getting now is extraction as the water's forced through the coffee puck. But more interestingly, you're actually getting a pressure profile on there. So it starts at about 9.5, 10 bars and moves through to about 5 bars of pressure towards the end, which is kind of where a lot of the more expensive machines with the programmable pressure profiling are ending up anyway. It's a really nice profile to use for a lot of coffees. So now what I'm going to do is basically quickly make the milk. The machine itself is just a pleasure to use. I mean, there is a little bit of force. First time you pull the lever down, it's quite surprising how much force it takes. But as soon as the muscle memory comes in, you can definitely, you know, the smallest barista will be able to use this without any problem at all. So just take this out. Give it a quick swirl. There you go. So just steam the milk. The milk one is superbly powerful on this. There you go. So the other thing is, it really does look beautiful, and at a price point, it's a machine that gives you much more than the value of the machine. So, in answer to my original question, is it relevant? It definitely is. Silent, pressure profiling, looks beautiful, pre-infusion. It's got everything. I think the only thing is people don't get their hands on them enough to find out what a fantastic machine these are. So that's my quick breakdown on the lever espresso machines, and it's a love of mine. So if you need any questions answering, or if you want to talk about these things, I'll talk about them all day. So thanks for your time, and thanks for Fracino for providing the machine for us.